Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Baruch Chaim ben Mordechai, Edward ben Ephraim, Shlomo ben Edward, and Yerachmina Daniel ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of Refuah Shalema of Reuven ben Racholea, Binyamin ben Tova, Raphael ben Mazal, and Orna Basili. May they have a complete and speedy recovery. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Tetzaveh, the hidden splendor. Our Parsha continues the discussion of the Mishkan, shifting focus from its construction to those that serve within it. Hashem commands Moshe Rabbeinu that only the purest of olive oils can be used for the daily kindling of the menorah. Moshe Rabbeinu was then instructed to appoint Aaron and his sons as Kohanim, as priests, for their sacred role in serving in the Mishkan. And during their service, the Kohanim must wear 4 special priestly garments: mechnasayim, underpants, kutonis, a large tunic, avnate, a belt, and mitznefes, a turban. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would wear 4 additional garments during his service: the me'il, a blue sleeveless robe with the lower hem fringed with golden bells; the ephod, a vest with a gemstone on each shoulder with the names of each tribe engraved on it; the choshen, a breastplate with 12 gems, each one engraved with one of the names of the tribe; and the tzitz, a golden plate inscribed with the name of God that was attached to his turban. However, a question comes to mind. When introducing the special priestly garments, the Torah states, "V'asisa bigdei kodesh la'aron achicha l'chavod l'sifaris." You shall make sacred garments for your brother Aaron for dignity and for splendor. The entire Perek Chav Ches 28 then describes in striking detail the beauty, the craftsmanship, the precision of these garments. And once more, at the conclusion of this parak, the Torah repeats this very phrase regarding the garments of Aaron's sons, l'chavod u'l'sifaris, for dignity and for splendor. But the word tiferet appears only 3 times throughout the entire Torah, and is twice used here in reference to the bigdei kehuna, to the garments of the Kohen. And in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains that tiferet reflects a lofty dimension of godliness, a radiant harmony in which the divine splendor shines to its fullest. And if so, why would such an exalted term be used to describe physical garments worn by human beings? Why would the Torah apply a word that speaks of transcendent divine glory to describe fabric, to describe gold, to describe the garments of the Kohen? The Gemara in Zvachim gives us a simple explanation, and the Gemara writes a fundamental principle: Bizman shebigdein alehem kunase alehem, that when their garments are upon them, their priesthood is upon them. And so the Gemara explains from here that without the garments, a Kohen's service is puzzle, it's invalid. The clothing was not cosmetic, it was not a symbolic decoration, it was essential to the job itself. He did not just wear the sacred garments, he became a Kohen through them. When the Torah is describing the garments as a chavod lucifares, is not speaking about elegance, is not speaking about beauty alone, it is describing the dignity, the authority required for the holy divine service. The sacred responsibility demanded visible form. It demanded a structure, it demanded honor, and these garments established that serving before God requires presence, it requires gravitas and distinction. And l'chavod l'sifaris does not describe the fabric, but the elevated status, the garments bestowed upon those who serve in the house of the Lord. However, the Aruch HaMakodesh, Rav Chaim ben Attar, a Moroccan commentary and Kabbalist, gives us a deeper and more profound explanation. And he writes that the word tiferet does not simply mean beauty. It refers to harmony, the fusion of opposing forces into a higher unity. It is the radiating synthesis that emerges when kindness and strength, when heaven and earth, when spirit and matter are brought into alignment. Tiferet is not surface elegance, it is the inner oneness revealed outwardly. And this is precisely why the Torah uses this term to describe the bigdei kehuna, the priestly garments. The Mishkan was built to fulfill V'shechanti b'soicham, and I, God, will dwell in them. The goal was not to escape the physical world, but to sanctify it. The gold, the wool, the linen were not obstacles to holiness. They were the instruments to bring it to fruition. And what made according to the divine command, the material doesn't conceal godliness, heaven forbid, it becomes its expression. The Ohr HaChaim explains that the garments of the Kohen embodied this truth. They united the physical work with the sacred service, and they transformed fabric into authority, design into devotion, form of God into function. Tiferet appears when the higher light is not withdrawn from the world, but revealed within it. The splendor of tiferet is not the fabric itself. It is divine purpose shining through it. And this profound lesson from the holy Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh is ever more relevant as we are about to celebrate the holiday of Purim. On the surface, the Megillah reads like political intrigue, palace drama, and altogether human strategy. God's name does not appear even once. There are no open miracles, no splitting of any seas, no pillars of fire or hail coming from the sky. Everything unfolds within the framework of natural events. Yet beneath the surface, every coincidence aligns with precision, and every reversal reveals a divine design that what appears ordinary is actually orchestrated. The lesson of Purim is that tiferet is not revealed through suspension of nature, but through its alignment. The concealment itself becomes the garment of the revelation itself. The events of Purim hid divine intervention in politics and in circumstance, but the splendor was not absent. It was hidden within the structure, and when we look closely, we begin to see that what seemed like coincidence is choreography, and what appears to be concealed and truthfully is carefully revealed. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that progress rarely comes through dramatic disruption. Most often, it comes through commitment. When responsibilities, when values, when long-term direction are working together, growth unfolds steadily and quietly. Breakthroughs are not always loud, but they are often the result of disciplined consistency. The mistake that many people make is waiting for that very defining moment. But real advancement happens when daily choices align with purpose, when effort and priorities and perspective move in the same direction, and what once felt stagnant begins to shift, and when discipline is sustained over time, we are positioned to succeed far beyond what we once imagined possible. There's a profound quote from Winston Churchill. The farther backwards you can look, the further forward you are likely to see. Have a great weekend, good Shabbos, and a happy Purim. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.